I owe Santayana a lot in my approach towards education. I admire this philosophy, and I'm not saying it's the best or the very unique approach to philosophy and education, but I seem to think that the sense of education, without philosophy of education, if we want this term, philosophy education, that is a special theory of education and special theory about the methods how to teach, because Santayana did not like to teach. He escaped from Harvard, and we have many opinions about his many opinions about what he thought about formal education. He criticized formal education. He was most probably a good teacher, but he did not like the formal education. But what I like and what I take from his writings is that he insisted on education as a life project, that apart from technicalities and apart from the knowledge we call technical knowledge or professional knowledge, he focused upon self-development in various areas, various dimensions. And I seem to think that in humanities, in philosophy, in my view, it's crucial, it's important, and I like this model, this idea. So, excuse me, the sense of education, as I understand Santayana, is to develop the following things, and reasoning, but it's one of the things out of many: reasoning, understanding, imagination, critical thinking, creativity, harmonization of different interests, self-expression. Not one of them, but all of them. And education, or philosophical education, or humanistic education, should embrace these elements as a kind of project that would, at the same time, let us develop or self-develop, but at the same time, make us find it possible to harmonize different interests, different types of self-development. So on the one hand, it is kind of individualistic project in education, but I think Santayana would say that the individuals who are trying to self-develop, self-express, and would try to think critically, would create a better society. So it is not just individualistic project in the sense that it is not a social project. In my view, and in a very short way, Santayana has maybe hidden, maybe not so much expressed, social philosophy. But the social philosophy says that we develop community, but making individuals better. And the individuals who are better will know more how to make the community better. I think it's a Greek project where, or even Aristotelian in its roots, that the virtue, or what we call nowadays virtue ethics, is something fundamental to make the progress as far as the functioning of society. So now the question appears, what is the progress or social progress or moral progress according to Santayana with reference to education? I would say Santayana very frequently criticized the progress in the understanding of accumulation of different goods, something that is commonly understood nowadays. We have progress because we have better technological tools, we accumulate different goods, we can use them, and this is progress. I think that Santayana proposed the term progress in the following way. We have progress when people learned how to live better and to use, irrelevantly of the technological progress, to use better their reasoning and the imagination to live a good life with such aspects as the beauty, as joy, as harmony of interests. So it seems to me that in this context, Santayana is very different from the pragmatists who promote, I think, social philosophies and technology in the social aspect. And Santayana would say, stoically, I think, that if you live in a well-developed society, technologically well-developed society or not, you have the same job to do, but more or less the same job to do with your imagination, with the synchronization of your interests, vital interests inside, and the external interest of people around you. So from this point of view, education, especially liberal arts, would be the good material or the source of good material to make it happen. Fanaticism, as we discussed this phenomena, in my understanding, well, for us, teachers, educators, philosophers, we do not have much effective tool or many effective tools like politicians perhaps or other people, business people. But we have access to education. We have access to the students. And this is our area for what we can do. We can have access to public education by internet, by websites and so on. So using the idea of Santayana, what fanaticism is, we discuss about this. The main aspect is that fanaticism has a lot of emotion but has no vision. That there is no vision what's gonna be after. This is, I think, the main point. And imagination, by means of education, by means of liberal arts, can be a useful tool, according to this philosophy of education, Santayana's philosophy of education, can be something we can promote. We discussed today, I think, and the term reason or rationalization. I think Santayana would tell us that rationalization, or this term, what is rationalization, is ability to harmonize different existing potentialities, especially when they are in conflicting interdependencies or conflicting interrelations. First, internally within us, but also externally. So this is the life of reason. And this is what fanatics or people who we call fanatics would lack. They do not care about the project of harmonization of different interests. Santayana in the Life of Reason project would say that taking care of harmonization, maybe even it is utopian, maybe it is unachievable, but it is worth doing or trying to do. We can go a step further, or maybe 2 steps further, but it is the ideal we should try to do. And barbarism. We talked about barbarism, that some of you mentioned that it is an integral part of civilization, according to Santayana. I do agree. I think Santayana would say that what we call civilization is an interplay of the civilized approaches and barbarian approaches. And this interplay is constant. So the job, if we come back to education and teaching and talking about this, is to make it possible for other people to realize that barbarism in this cultural dimension is not just far away from us. Because, of course, when we are talking about terrorism, we think about them. But just Matteo was saying about mafia, it is not about them. Mafia is here in Europe, in the civilized Europe, or some other, types of barbarity like Nazi Germany. It was not them, it was our Christian civilization that created the biggest atrocities like Nazi barbarism or terrorism, whatever, how you call it. At the same time, of course, there is a problem that Santayana uses terms in different meanings. I think that cultural barbarism is one thing, but this militant barbarism is something different, and Santayana mentioned this too. I have no good answer what we should do against this militant or military type of barbarism. I have no good answer. My answer for cultural barbarism is to make the job within education, within public education, to explain, to try to organize people from different cultures to discuss. But I have no better tool, or I cannot imagine that we can do something more. We can be constant in our efforts to explain, to dialogue, to converse, to be ready to talk. But I don't believe we have more, more powerful tools to do something with aggression, barbarity, fanaticism in its most, I would say, militant or aggressive form. So the answer, or practical answer, or practical project that I would say I would be in favor of is more, I would say, practical, more energetic, using modern tools as challenges to keep this traditional humanistic tradition of teaching, of education, liberal arts, at the same time having in my mind the limits of this approach. I'm in favor of this. At the same time, I do realize when I talk to my teachers from different countries that definitely they would say that it's a Western project. And when I say, for example, in different words, harmonization of different interests, like in the Life of Reason we have this, right? They say, why? You should respect, you Western people, you should respect our rights. And when I say, wait a second, when you're here, you have not only rights, but also obligations in order to harmonize, to be with us. Some of them will say, no, I have the rights, I have no obligations. And I don't want to listen to these obligations, I have the rights, you have to respect me. So when you have the clash of this cultural approaches, I think I have no good answers to this. So I would even agree with the students or other people from different countries or different traditions that Santayana reflected what they suggested. The Santayana reflects the best but Western ideas, what we call Western. And well, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but maybe I'm right, I don't know. So, summing up, what I want to say, in the spirit of Santayanan, let's say philosophy of education, that education, or philosophical education, humanistic education is a kind of project that, using his words, would make people more civilized. And making people more civilized is the hope that they will be less barbaric and less fanatical by this. I have no better answer. Maybe you have, but I do not have better answers what to do as regards our intellectuals in the West, philosophers in the West, how to react, what to do to protect, to react against terrorism and these bad things. At the same time, I would like to say, maybe against some of the voices here, that I'm optimistic. You know, I'm the child of communism, and I saw communism 30 years ago. And maybe this optimism was inflicted, as if, to me, because after communism was destroyed, I went to the US, to Herman and to John Locke. But I seem to think, from my perspective, that, well, and I corresponded with Danielle, I have a feeling we, the people living in the West, in Germany, in Poland, we are living almost in a paradise in comparison to what happens in other parts of the world. We are forgetting that we have lunch, yes, without any problems, whereas millions of people can dream about this form. You know, after lunch we come back and we talk about it. You know. This is luxury for millions of people. And some of them, unfortunately, some of these millions will never get it. And we have it, and we complain. So a part of this, I would say, that liberal arts understood in the Santayana way, is understanding and that there are beauties around. And of course, there are terrible things around. But we can try to do something what we can, but also appreciate our comfortable situation. Comfortable, not perfect, but comfortable in comparison to those millions and millions of frustrated people who have nothing. They can only dream about access to education, access to food, just like we have around the corner, and coming back and talking about philosophy. So this is optimistic ending of my story. Thank you.
Thank you.